Welcome to the Sponsored Rider Club podcast, your guide to motorsports sponsorship. Here's your host, Josh Weesey.
Welcome to this episode of the Sponsored Rider Club podcast, live experience, which is powered by 4 Wheel Parts. And looks like we got a few people joining right now. We're live on Instagram and Facebook, so I will do my best to keep up with both of those as people are joining. But I've got a little bit of a topic that I want to talk about today. We actually discussed it a little bit in the last episode I produced, which was 209. Jay Tillis of Banks Power and also the Truck Show podcast. Welcome, Veronica. Welcome. Hey, and as people are hopping on here, leave a comment, a little emoji, a GIF, tag your friends. That doesn't matter. Just let me know you're here. Yes, Rob Spencer's on, and I do remember you, brother. You had one of the most memorable live shows ever by doing a backflip or whatever that was in the pool at the end, so that was a good time. That actually happened, folks. I don't remember what live show that was. This is our 47th. Is that right? I think it's 47th live show. That's a lot of live shows. I think so. It's going to be like a 210 total once the show's released on the audio version. Ken Farley, what's up, man? How are you? So yeah, as folks are coming on, feel free to start leaving comments, or if you got questions, whether it's about this topic or something else, go ahead and type them in, and I'll do my best to address those. What's up, Charlie? Charlie R134, what's up? I probably should start talking about the actual content here in a minute, huh? All right. I am going to be discussing something, and I'm referring to it as offset branding costs. Some people might say opportunity cost, but it's basically like a subset of ROI. ROI is return on investment, if you don't already know about that. I could probably do a show just on return on investment. I could probably do multiple shows and tiers of that. But today I really want to talk about this subset, and we've talked about it in versions on the show. Like, people give examples of how they've offset somebody's costs, meaning a sponsor's costs, and how they value themselves in relation to those costs that they've offset. And we're just going to kind of break it down a little bit, explain to you what I view it means, and how you might do something different with that information. Hey, look, what's up, Mad Dog Media, Nomad Overland? Hello, hello, hello. Okay, so let me get into this content a little deeper. Every company spends money on marketing. That's obvious. And sometimes they're targeting different things. Sometimes they're going after just general branding, like brand building, and sometimes they're going after, sales conversions. Brand building ultimately leads to sales conversions in the future, but most immediately, sales conversion is like, boom, like right there. It's something that's usually very traceable. It's something that is usually a lot more measurable than brand building. So brand building might be you're getting your name out there, you're getting people to recognize who you are, you're creating your values, whatever it might be. But generally, it is a little bit harder to measure. And that's the one we're going to talk about today. When we say offset cost for branding, we're talking about the brand building function, not necessarily sales conversion. So I'll just give you an example of sales conversion. Let's say you are a sponsored rider and your sponsor gives you a link to send people to, and off of, say, your Instagram. Well, they can probably track pretty closely using that link how many conversions you have. All right. Now, I'm not talking about that right now. I'm talking more about a company saying, hey, we want to get our message out there. We want to associate your branding with our branding and build on it from there. That is what I'm talking about. And it does cost money. It does cost money. All right, so looks just a couple comments here. Ken Farley is saying the audio sounds good. That is awesome because this is a different audio setup. I like to change the audio setup constantly just to test things out. So thank you for telling me that sounds good. All right, I'm just seeing a couple comments on here. Sup from Kicker Arena Cross. You are Mad Dog. You are in Arena Cross right now. That is awesome. Yeah, I'm not. I'm in my basement. I never show behind the cameras here and what's in the basement. It's not that Arena Cross like look. So good thing you're there, having fun, representing Kicker. All right, back to the content here. Okay, so I talked about what branding costs really are and the differences between brandings and sales conversions, and then really what we're talking about here is offsetting those costs. So picture a company that has a billboard. They spend a certain amount of money on this billboard each year, or each month. I'm just gonna say, just taking a number out of the air, $100K a year for a billboard somewhere. All right, and let's just imagine that this billboard gets 200 eyeballs on it. So they probably figured out some calculation that there's so many people that drive by, you get 200,000 eyeballs on this thing a year. All right, and it costs $100,000 to get those 200,000 eyeballs. All right. Your program, let's say your sponsorship program, costs $50K to fund and also gets 200,000 eyeballs. Now, at no point are you going to probably be able to very clearly dictate what your sales conversion was. Billboard can't do it. Your program likely can't do it unless you're really sophisticated. And I don't know. If you are, let me know in the comments if you figure this out, because I don't know. It sounds tough to me. But what we're basically just have done here is said you can show your sponsor that in this instance that you can offset their branding costs by providing basically double the value in your viewership, the eyeballs that see the branding that you're going to present versus what this billboard is going to present. Now, to get to this point, you have to have a relationship with a sponsor. I don't see this happening on a DM. Like if you're sliding into somebody's DMs, I do not see this conversation happening at that point. But I do see it happening if you are making a pitch or you're having some deeper conversations with a potential sponsor or a current sponsor that you're looking to kind of re-up or maybe take to the next level. And you start asking them, you say, all right, well, where are you spending your money? What are your branding techniques right now? What are your goals? Well, they might tell you, my goals are to, promote the value of, let's just call it family in our brand. And let's just say that you are a sponsored rider that is very family focused. Maybe your whole family's into it. All right. So you have this scenario now where you know a little bit of what their goals are and what they're trying to achieve. Then you can start understanding, all right, well, how are you doing that now? How are you reaching your audience? Oh, well, we're spending $100,000 a year in Facebook ads. Okay. I also have a Facebook account, right? This is you as a sponsored rider. I also have a Facebook account. My family is present on this Facebook account. I have 200,000 followers, and I get 100,000 views a month. I'm just making numbers up here again. How many views do you get on your Facebook post? Oh, well, we don't get that many. Interesting. So I can give you more value, likely, at this point than your Facebook views can give you organically or promoting, I should say. And that's the basis of this conversation that you're going to have with your sponsors is once you understand their goals, you start showing them different ways of how you can offset their costs, their branding costs, and ultimately make investing in you and your program more cost effective than some other means of brand marketing, meaning like Facebook advertising is the example I used, or a billboard. These are all different examples. Now, this also means that you have to have a darn good understanding of your own metrics and your own exposure. If someone asks you, well, how much engagement do you get each month on Instagram, right? If you know that, you can answer that question very quickly. Or if you have a website and you know how many visitors you get to that website, you can get a pretty good idea of how many eyeballs are on your website. Or if you go to a race event, or maybe you go to 10 race events each year, and you know that there's 30,000 people present at the race event, and a certain percentage of those people are going to see your machine that has the sponsor logos on it. You can start calculating these things. So, all right, that is the high level overview of what I wanted to cover today. If you want to learn more about this topic, I do cover it to some extent in a lot of shows, but I want to direct you back to episode 209 with Jay Tillis. He gave some really good examples, I felt, on the cost of branding, the ROI, and it sparked this conversation, so I felt that it was a pretty good show for you to go back to. It's the one I just really released, so looks like we might have. So Nomad Overland just made a comment here on Instagram. Hype Auditor, it sounds like it's an app, is great for knowing your numbers, how much each post or story is worth in dollars. All right, now that is a good piece of information. So, folks, check that out. Hype Auditor. Google it. Tell us what you're out there. But yeah, looks like that gives you a good understanding. Oh, it's a website. Okay, so a Hype Auditor is a website. He just clarified that. But yeah, that can help you understand, how much your exposure is worth. So, good stuff. All right, well, I think that is everything that I wanted to cover today in this show. If you're getting value out of this show, head over to Apple Podcasts, leave that rating and review. That would be phenomenal. Or leave a review on Facebook or on Instagram. I don't know. Give me a follow, whatever. Whatever you can do on Instagram. I don't know what Instagram can do. And then subscribe to the shows. That's the best way to get this content flowing all the time, so you don't have to think about it. It just downloads automatically to your phone. We're on, I think, all the podcast platforms out there. We're on a bunch of podcast platforms that I've never even heard of before. Like, I just find these weird things out there, and my show is published to them. I don't even know how it gets there, but go to one of those too. That's fine. All right, well, at this point, though, I'm going to leave you with this. Have fun and ride safe.